No man is more professional than I. I am a 1% man. I am not above or below any man. I'm training my mind. I'm building my body. I'm connecting to my soul. I'm investing my money. Welcome to the 1% Man Podcast. Let's go. Three, two, one. Wyatt C. Knight, welcome to the show. How you doing today, brother?
I'm good, man. Thank you for having me. Talking all things 1% better. I love it.
Right? A 1% man meeting the man that is creating the 1% better method is pretty amazing. Now, Wyatt C. Knight is the founder of the 1% better method, a lifestyle entrepreneur, and an ACE certified fitness instructor focused on maximizing his clients' potential. Now, this is pretty cool, too. He's also a board member for Harlem Lacrosse. He empowers inner city youth in Harlem through lacrosse. So this is pretty sweet. Now, with an impressive resume like that, and you also told me before the show that you were into politics, how did you go from politics to empowering youth?
Yeah, well, it's reverse. It really started with, I think my whole goal in life is to help people like you and I are talking about. And how do you help people? I think now I'm learning and you're learning that to help people, you need to help yourself first and foremost. And I learned that the hard way through not putting myself first for a lot of years. Even when I was in Harlem was the big experience of like the kids, the program, all that was first. And eventually I ran myself into the ground and just couldn't give any more to anyone else because I wasn't focused on giving back to myself. And that's where the mindset had always been. All right, if I really want to help people at the highest level, I need to help them improve daily in things that they want to improve and focus on. But I can't tell someone that they should do X, Y, and Z if I'm not walking my own talk, right? And I think that's why I say I'm focused on getting 1% better every day. And I'd love for you to join me along in my process, and you and I could partner and empower each other to grow as people every single day. And so I focus on empowering myself and empowering others along the way. And I think that, to me, that Harlem experience was the pinnacle of helping people, right? If I want to do anything, I want to do it at the highest level. And where better to make a difference than the lives of at-risk inner city youth anywhere, let alone Harlem, New York. And so I moved there, lived there for a few years and got that program off the ground. And it just kind of opened my eyes to the world, to society, asking why, asking how we can do better, telling myself, if you want to see change, you need to be that change. You need to go out and you need to do something about it. And that kind of has put me off on this crazy, unique journey to figure out what's the highest and best use of my time and energy, and what's the platform that can help the most people at the highest level. And that would be that transition to politics. Politics was built to help people build the best version of themselves, to live their best lives. I think that's deteriorated a lot, and we're not at that point. And so politics to me was that learning experience, saying, here's a platform that's supposed to help people. It doesn't seem like it's doing it right now at a high level. So let me learn from it. Let me take from it, and let me build out my own platform focused on it, empowering people with the tools, the mindset, the nutrition, the fitness to get up every day and say, I'm going to give this my best shot. I'm going to have my best day, which ultimately means you're going to have your best life. So it's just been trial and error. And I think when I was early on in my 20s, everyone said gain experiences and meet new people. And I think I've always been focused on those two concepts to grow and learn and figure out who I am and what I want to do with my life and how I want to do it. And I think it's been a great journey, and the birth of the 1% Better Club this year really focused on helping people, in particular in this unique year we're in, let alone just getting up and giving them the best chance at having the best life. And I think is really what it's all about, and when it's all said and done.
Now, I totally love what you just said, but before we get even further in today's topic, I'm going to ask you 3 questions so we can get to know you better as well. Yep. Number 1, what's your favorite color and why?
Ooh, my favorite color is my favorite color is orange.
Orange.
I think I fell in love with the University of Virginia and their men's lacrosse program when I was in 12 or 13 years old, when I first started playing lacrosse. And Virginia's colors are orange and blue. And I remember just falling in love with Virginia, falling in love with their lacrosse team. and orange quickly became my favorite color. And I latched on to orange. I latched on to Virginia lacrosse and kind of put that on my bulletin board as a goal and as a dream I wanted to achieve in my life. And ultimately 6-7 years later, I was able to get a scholarship to play lacrosse at the University of Virginia and wear their famous orange jerseys. So orange has always been good to me. So I hold on tight to it.
Okay. And that's definitely playing at the highest level too with Virginia. So I know lacrosse down here is super crazy. I went to school in Virginia as well. So lacrosse is known very well. And orange is a great color. I can dig it. I can definitely dig it. So if you had to choose another profession to be an expert in, what would it be and why?
Well, I think I thought about that a lot. And I think, I think the best profession you can be in is the profession of getting better as a human. And that's the life I live. That's when people ask me what I do, I say I focus on getting 1% better every day. And so I think I feel very fortunate. I've been given the platform, the socioeconomic situation, the family situation, the college degree to chase a lot of different careers, to have a lot of different ideas for professions, from finance to politics, to legal, to venture capital, to fitness. And I think the best profession I found is the profession of becoming a better version of yourself every day. And in an alternate life, in some alternate universe, the best profession I would love to be in a rock and roll band. I think I still have it as a dream to play on the stage in front of 100,000 people. But if I could be in the Beatles or Queen or AC/DC or the Doors or the Rolling Stones, one of those bands, that would be the profession, because I think you can make such a difference in people's lives. It lasts such a long period of time. The impact music has on people, on their lives, on their general happiness is profound. And I think I would love to, in an alternate universe, have that profession for sure.
I was going to say, and this goes very well with the soundtracks that you make for working out. I mean, it's perfect. It's perfect as well. And now I'm going to have a link for that in the show notes. Now, last question. What is one value you would teach all men in the world that would make it a better place for everyone?
I love that question. I think, I don't know if it's a value, but it's a daily ritual that I think is, I would say, look in the mirror. It's a thing that I try to do every day, and I try to instill in the 1% Better Club, the members that sign up for my monthly subscription package. I think all the answers that you're searching for in life are looking back at you in the mirror, and it's a hard thing to do, to look in the mirror and ask yourself the tough questions of who you are, what you stand for, what you want to achieve in your life, and most importantly, like what's in your way of you achieving the things you want to achieve. And so I think if that could be a ritual you start every day, of when you get up in the morning, you go to brush your teeth or wash your face, take 5-10 seconds and look in the mirror and just check in with yourself, check in with that little voice in your head and saying, am I where I want to be? If you are, great, keep going. If you're not, that's okay. You need to start thinking about what's in your way to become the person you want to become. And I think that's something we should all do more as humans. But we've been on a hamster wheel for a long time where we're not having a lot of time to reflect on ourselves. This year, we have that time, and we need a deep dive into what's coming back at us when we look in that mirror.
I love that answer. Now, I also want to ask, on top of this, is what do you think is the key thing that's holding most of us back? Or you would say 90% of us, right? Just making a generalization, right? And what you know and the people you've coached, what do you think is the number one thing holding us back from reaching our full potential and getting to that 1% better each day?
Yeah, well, I love your questions. I'm so glad we connected, and it seems like just the beginning of a great journey ahead for us. But I think the biggest thing, and you and I were talking about this earlier, the biggest thing that holds people back is just getting started. I think that's where, but getting started isn't what people are worried about. I think mostly people are so worried about what other people think about what they are or what they aren't doing. And I think that is even before the concept of just getting started, because people aren't worried about getting it off the ground. They're worried about what people are going to think if it's not perfect, right? If their project, if their platform, if their podcast, if their blog, if my platform, if my website isn't perfect, are people going to judge you? Are people going to critique you? Are people going to be consumed by your interpretation of what's being put out in your reality? And I think it's the number one thing that holds people back. And I think I live for that moment. I'm sure you feel the same. I live for that moment where in my own life where I can break through that and I can put something out in the world, because 9 times out of 10, once you get to the destination, it's never as fulfilling as the journey that you're on to get there. And so I think it's all about that journey of being comfortable, putting yourself out into the world and knowing that once you put it out there, all it is just working hard, gathering feedback and enjoying the process, and you'll ultimately get to where you want to go. But I live for that moment where I can help someone spark it and say, stop overthinking all this and just go out and do it. If you love it, if you're passionate about it, it's going to work itself out. It's going to take a long period of time. Patience is a big thing I'm working on now, but it's going to take time. It's going to take effort. But if you love doing it, that's all that matters. If you're the only person that listens to your podcast, if you're the only person that watches your vlog, like if you love it and it's helping you, great, because that means it's ultimately going to help other people. But I think that the short answer is mostly people are just consumed by what everyone else is going to think if it's not perfect. And anyone that ever achieved anything great in their life just got started. They were terrible at it when they started, but they just refused to give in. They refused to stop. They refused to listen to all the noise, mostly coming from your head rather than all the other people, because you usually make it all up in your head anyways. And they just kept going until all those pieces clicked to come up with whatever you want to come up with that ultimately is going to help you live your best life.
Oh my God. I think like I told you even before the show, when you were talking, I was getting emotional because that's my big thing, right? It took me almost, I think 4 to 6 months. I have a podcast episode about this, about me launching the podcast, because I was so worried. I was like, I need this right. I need this system. I need this tool. I need this. I need that. And you keep, and the thing is you keep putting it off and you're like, I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week. I'll do it next week. And you never get started. And oh my God. I think when you just say it to me, it just brings up so much emotions, because like even promoting my podcast, right? It's such a drain. It's not a drain, but it's just like, it's not right. The sound quality isn't the best, right? I want to reach out to somebody even bigger than me and I want to have them on the podcast, but I'm not ready for that yet. You know what I'm saying? It's like you always make excuses, and you're making their excuses, and you're assuming that if I put it out, my boy Mr. Knight isn't gonna like it, right? My mom is gonna think something crazy about myself. My dad's gonna think something crazy about myself. So, man, I appreciate that so much. And I have to ask, I want to take a step back here, and I want to go to ground zero.
Yeah.
Someone comes to you, totally lost, totally depressed, totally down. Life has beat them out. They are at ground zero. They might even be under the ground, like 6 feet under I'm talking about, right? We need to get them back up, and I want to start building them up, right? What is the first step? Excuse me, you want to start building them up when they come to you. What is the first step someone listening to this needs to do to become 1% better if they're starting from ground zero or even below the ground?
Yeah. I would say the number one thing to start with is figuring out your why. I think having that why and that being your ground zero, that being your rock, that being the root of your foundation to maximize your potential. The why are the roots that I'm consistently trying to grow with the 1% Better Club. The foundation is the mindset, is the fitness, it's the nutrition. That's where the roots are really going to hold strong. And then the tree is going to grow. The tree is your goals, is your dream. And everyone's going to have their own tree, their own branches that are going to spin off of their own goal. But that why is the root, is the foundation of your house, of your building, of your life. And so for me, my why, when we were talking about earlier today, is that Harlem lacrosse experience, which is I was born, in such an awkwardly supportive socioeconomic situation compared to a majority of people in the world, let alone the majority of, not 100% of the students I was working with in Harlem, right? A white male in a very supportive socioeconomic situation, 2 parents, a family. Going to school was the norm. Going to college was the expectation. Like getting the job in finance or business was the process. So like for me, it's knowing that I've been given so many opportunities to live my best life, and knowing how many people don't have those opportunities. I don't have any excuse not to get up every day and give this thing called life my best shot, right? And I think that's tried and true. And no matter the BS and the problems and the frustration, the excuses that I try to come up with in my mind to start, to move, to get up, to start whatever I want to do, to live my best life, to launch the platforms I want to launch, I can't ever convince myself outside of that why. No excuse is going to get in the way of that why. And I think that's a big deal that I'm trying to find with my clients. Recently had a client come to me, for example, he's struggling with his health and wellness. He just had his newborn baby with his wife, and he's trying to get himself back on track. And I said, what's your why? And he said, I want to be there for as long as I can for my child. And I was on a Zoom with him, and he just was like, it was literally like he had a tough time recollecting himself after that breakthrough, because he knew it, but saying it out loud and saying it to someone that cares about you and unconditionally supports you was for him such a thing where it's almost like, I have no excuse now because I want to be there. My why is so hard. It's so firm. I want to be there for as long as I can for the thing that I care about most, which is my child. And so I think finding that why, holding on to it for dear life is first and foremost the best step to getting yourself in the right process of moving your life forward in whatever direction you want to move it forward.
I love that. Get those roots planted with the why. So someone now, they have identified their why. They have got their roots planted, right? What is now on top of that? What's the next thing? What's the first foundational piece? Because you were talking about fitness, we're talking about nutrition, we're talking about mindset. Out of those three, where should we first start, and what should we do so that way we can even go propel further ahead?
Yeah, well, I think before you start thinking about a mindset, fitness, and nutrition, I think you need to think about your life in two spheres almost. Like, one is time. So time is this finite period that we have as a human being on planet Earth. It's the one thing that's completely out of our control, and it dictates, and it should dictate everything we do in life, right? So we have this finite period of time, and then energy. Energy is the only thing you actually do control. And it's thinking about, what am I putting my time and my energy into as a human being right now? And are those things that I'm putting my time and energy into, are they benefiting me, others, and the greater concept of humanity as a whole? And I think that's a big thing people need to think through early on, is the fitness, the mindset, nutrition. You should focus much more of your time and your energy onto those things. But the first one is having this breakthrough of saying, here's your 24-hour day. What are you doing? What are you doing with your time? And what are you doing with your energy during that 24-hour day? Because we have, as a society, have built up this world where we're consistently trying to gather everyone else's time and energy, because that's how you get likes. That's how you get clients. That's how you make money, is you take people's time and you convert it to their energy, and you have them buy something or click a video or watch something, whatever it may be, right? So it's really helping people grasp onto the fact that you need to take back control of your time and energy. And then once you have that, what are you going to relocate that time and energy into, right? If before it was scrolling on social media for an hour and a half, or going to a job that you didn't love for 8 hours a day, or eating crap food that's taking away your energy, now once it's reverted back to you, you can say, okay, I'm going to put more time into going for a walk, more time in nutrition, more time into reading, more time into surrounding myself with good people. And I think that is the next step, even before you lay that foundation, is now you have your why. Now you're able to look at your life and say, where's my time and energy going into? And then it's focusing that time and energy into the things you want to accomplish. But I would say, in order to accomplish things you want to accomplish, you have to lay that foundation, which is the next step of, do you have the proper mindset to get through whatever you got to get through every single day to be the person you want to be? Are you putting the right things in your body, the hydration, the food that properly put you in the best position mentally, physically, emotionally to maximize your potential? And I say, are you moving your body in some sort of way, right? There's a lot of people that can run marathons. There's a lot of people that don't want to run marathons, right? But are you doing something to move your body consistently to allow you to go through this flow of life and give it its best shot?
You know what I was thinking? I was thinking about everything you were saying. I said, exactly. I always talk about hydration in terms of water. Something that I always talk about. And I preach. I tell people, if you just cut out all the other drinks, but just water, you wouldn't imagine how much energy you'll have, how much better you'll feel. We have a 1% Man journal, and we talk about, hey, just movement for 30 minutes a day, just moving, like just walking 30 minutes is just going to make you feel better. And then again, I just love, I think the one thing I also want to ask is, how did you come up with the concept of the 1% better method versus like, getting 5% better or, changing your life, or everyone has their own slogan, but you specifically chose 1% better because maybe there was something that happened in your life or some chain reaction, but why 1%? You know what I mean? Why the one? Why not the two? Why not the three? Why one?
Well, I think that goes back to like my own issue that I always deal with is, like we said earlier, I'm always trying to get the Z in the alphabet. And I used to try to skip as many steps as I could to get to Z. I wanted to raise all that money at one point. I wanted the project to be perfect. I wanted me to be the best version of myself. I wanted to get all these things that I wanted to get to. And I had a tough ego and reality check to say, you're not going to get there if you don't. And I always am consumed by the future. And I have been working on not being in a consistent state of stress, because if you're consumed by the future, you're always stressed about things that you can't actually control. And so I think the best way to put it would be like, I think humans, we make 35,000 decisions a day, right? I think like that's the average a human makes. And so for me, it's like, okay, how do you actually fix anything you want to fix to be anyone you want to be? It's this exact moment that you have making one better decision about your life today than you made the day before. And so I think the more I thought about life and what it is, it's a series of decisions about the people and experiences that you want to have in your life that ultimately give you the best chance to look back and say, I lived my best life. And so it's all about that one decision that you need to make, that one little improvement that's going to pile on. Because if you try to make 5, 10, 15, 20 improvements every single day, and I try to do that before, my to-do list used to be 500 things every single day. And now it's like, what's one thing I can do today to make it more achievable, more manageable, more attainable, more realistic? But it's a never-ending process to continue in like perpetual growth. And so the more I thought about all this, the more it just came down to one decision, one idea, one action item, one better this, and this. And so it kind of just all clicked where I was like, if I can just focus on getting a little bit better every day, but that didn't sound as good as, let me just focus on getting 1% better every single day. And so it's been an evolution over the past couple of years. I used to just say, I left a couple of years ago, this experience my wife went on, where it's kind of ability to check out society and really think about our lives. And I left saying, I want to build my life off of doing two things: helping other people and getting better as a person. And that was the first shift. And then I started putting those ideas out into the world, which to the listeners, that's the big, just get it out into the world, because it's not going to be perfect when you get it out. You just need to get it out, because the world's going to give you back what you should run with it. And then I started teaching fitness classes, because the more I talked about getting better and improving, the more I got involved in fitness, the more people started following me and taking my classes. And then I used to tell people, let's just get a little bit better this morning in class. And then people started saying, hey, like, let's just get a 1%, 1% better. And then I said, whoa, that's it. That's the thing I'm going to stick with. That's my mission. That's my vision. And so, but that was a 3-year process to get from the idea I had about how I wanted to live my life to the actual concept. And then this past year has just been the first year where I've turned it all into a business, into a club, into a lifestyle, into a method. So I just offer that perspective as people saying it's a long process. The sooner you can get out into the world, the better off it will be, the more tangible. And the most importantly, like, if you want to help people, you need to figure out how they need help and then turn it into how you're going to build a program around what people need. And that 1% better really translates with people. Say, it's not this big grand idea. It's right here, this one thing that I'm going to work on every single day.
Man, I love what you said. Wyatt, this is phenomenal. Now, I know time is winding down. So before we go, I know there's so many more things I need to ask, but hey, I want to give you the floor. What is something that you've learned this year, or maybe something you have achieved, or something that you have mastered, or maybe something you are mastering? What is something that you want to share with the people that are listening today, right now, with our listeners? What's something that you want to share with them?
Yeah, well, hopefully this is many more of these to come, because you and I could clearly talk about this stuff all day, and I would love to pick your brain as well, more so. I think the biggest thing is, like, I heard a quote from Tony Robbins, and I'm sure you listen to a lot of Tony Robbins based off our mindset and lifestyles. And he said the definition of success is doing what you want, where you want, with who you want, as much as you want. And I remember I saw that quote for the first time when I was working in Harlem. And I was working in Harlem. I was 6-7 days a week, failing middle school. My boys, 97% of them below the poverty rate. Most of them first generation immigrants from Africa. Most of them didn't even speak English. I mean, living in the projects, living in homeless shelters. And, you're seeing some really crazy things. And I remember seeing that and just seeing that quote and feeling that experience I was going through and saying, that's it. That's what I have to do as a human being. I have to live that life, or else I'd be letting down all these young men who don't have that same opportunity early on in their lives. And most importantly, I'd be letting down myself if I didn't do whatever it took to achieve that ultimate lifestyle. And you and I were talking about earlier how I've jumped around a lot in different careers in different places. Like, what I want to articulate to people is you can get there, and maybe your path is going to be entirely different than mine, but it's going to take drastic changes, drastic measures to get you to where you are now, to get you to where you want to go. And when I look around, this year has been so trying in so many ways for so many people, but that was 2012, 2013. I saw that quote. So 8 years later, it took me 6 cities I've lived in. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars of money that I had saved up to live in all those cities, to start all these projects. I've invested every dollar I could into just figuring out what the hell I was going to do with my life. Every different career, different opportunity, every type of different thing I've tried and done over the past 7 to 8 years to get there. And ultimately, I'm at that point now where I'm doing what I want, where I want, with who I want, as much as I want. And it is the best feeling in the entire world. It is the only feeling that should ultimately people are trying to achieve and trying to achieve. And so the moral of the story is I want you guys to set that high expectation for how you want to live your life. And I want you to do whatever it takes to get there. And I want you to sacrifice everything you have to in order to wake up one day and saying, I'm doing everything I've ever wanted to do. I'm living my best life, because none of the shit, when it's all said and done, when you're old and gray and you're on your last few days and you're looking back in your life, none of the things that you think are a problem or in the way ultimately are going to be something that should stop you from living your best life every single day. Because you're going to look back and you're going to say, did I live my best life, or did I let a bunch of childish BS, social media distractions get in my way from giving everything I had to this thing called life? And so that would be my final hoorah to you guys, is set that standard high, do whatever it takes to do it, because there's nothing else in life than giving it your best shot and living your best life when it's all said and done.
My God, y'all heard it here first. Okay. YC Knight. Yo. All right, my brother. Until next time, your legacy starts today. Thank you, my friend, for tuning into today's episode. This means so much to us over here at the 1% Man community. Now, we want to extend a hand of gratitude to you. So I have a free gift for you. All you have to do is go to www.the1percentman.com/podcast gift. This is an exclusive gift for listeners that tune into our podcast. So go over there, get that free gift as well. And now I have 2 simple acts of you. 1, hit that subscribe button and leave us a comment and a 5-star review, because that helps us to see what you love about the podcast, and that helps us to bolster up in the rankings so more people can find us and listen to this pertinent information that we have for men of today's age. Last but not least, I want you to go back and listen to this podcast. Find just one thing that you can implement in your life today so you can move forward. Remember, progress over perfection. And till next time, my friend, your legacy starts today.